Look at your life, waking up every day to the same grind, constantly pulled in a million directions, but never truly moving forward? That's no accident. Modern life is designed to break you down, to keep you distracted, exhausted, and disconnected from the person you were meant to be. The systems, the screens, the pressures, they're all part of a plan to trap you in a cycle of stress, mediocrity, and burnout. But it doesn't have to be this way. It's time to wake up and reclaim your life before it's too late. If you don't know me already, I am Knight's Wisdom, and my goal with this channel is to help you go from a gooning loser to a real, God-fearing man who ends up becoming a great husband and a great father. Pornography is the first trap modern life sets for you, and it's more accessible than ever before. In fact, for many people, it's one of the first things they encounter when they pick up their phone or turn on their computer. It's everywhere, a click away, always available, always tempting. But what you don't realize is that each time you indulge, you're rewiring your brain. Porn hijacks your dopamine system, training your mind to crave instant, shallow gratification. This constant rush of dopamine leaves you numb, not just to pleasure, but to the real, deeper connections you were meant to build with others. You begin to view intimacy as a transaction, as something to consume rather than something to share and grow in. What was once sacred becomes tainted, and as you keep going back to the screen, you find yourself less and less capable of forming genuine, lasting bonds with people. What's worse is that it fosters unrealistic expectations of sex, of relationships, of love itself. What you see on the screen isn't real, but it feels real enough to distort your perceptions. You start comparing the fantasy to reality, and inevitably, reality falls short. Real intimacy, real relationships, they feel boring, flat, and disconnected in comparison to the high that porn gives you. As this cycle continues, you fall deeper into isolation. The guilt and shame of indulging linger long after the act, pushing you further away from others and from your true self. Porn doesn't just rob you of meaningful relationships, it robs you of your potential. It keeps you trapped in a cycle that keeps you stuck in mediocrity, numbed out from the world around you, and disconnected from the greatness you were meant to live. And just quickly, if you struggle on this path or just want to speed up the progress, go click the first link in the description and check out my store. You can buy my ebook on NoFap, my ebook on masculinity, or join my private community where you can talk to me personally or other like-minded men to help you on this journey, and also get both of the ebooks. But now, let's continue. Go check it out for more info. The overload of information is one of the most insidious traps that modern life has engineered. From the very moment your eyes open in the morning, you're immediately bombarded with a flood of notifications, social media updates, and news alerts. It's as if the entire world is waiting for you to react, to engage, to pay attention to it all. You reach for your phone, and there it is, a constant stream of information shouting at you from every direction. The news, your email, your social media feeds. It all blends together into one chaotic mess of demands and distractions. Instead of waking up to peace, you're thrust into a battle of mental stimuli. This unrelenting barrage doesn't just keep you busy, it overloads your brain. We weren't designed to handle the constant stream of notifications that come with the digital age. The human mind is built to focus on a few things at a time, but today, we're expected to juggle 100 different inputs every minute of the day. And when we try to process everything at once, it leads to mental overload. This creates a fog, a sense of clutter in your thoughts that makes it almost impossible to think clearly or concentrate. You can't make decisions because your brain is still processing the last 100 bits of information it just absorbed. This constant overload also brings on something that's almost inevitable: anxiety. Your mind is constantly being tugged in different directions, trying to keep up with all the demands placed on it. You might find yourself feeling restless, stressed out, or simply overwhelmed by the sheer amount of things to keep track of. It's like your mind is trying to catch up, but there's always more coming at you, faster and faster. And the worst part? You get used to it. You think it's normal to feel this way, but it's not. It's modern life's trap. As a result, decision fatigue creeps in. When you're constantly bombarded with choices, your mind becomes paralyzed. Simple decisions start to feel like monumental tasks because your brain is exhausted from trying to process everything. The constant back and forth between work, messages, social media, and the endless influx of information leaves you drained before your day has even really begun. Every time you pick up your phone, your brain gets another hit of dopamine. But this isn't the good kind of dopamine. It's the type that keeps you addicted to distraction. You're chasing the next notification, the next update, but you're never truly engaging with anything that will move you forward. This constant dopamine-driven cycle trains you to be reactive, not proactive. Instead of focusing on long-term goals or investing in your personal growth, you're stuck in a cycle of short-term gratification. You check your phone first thing in the morning, then again 10 minutes later, then again after that. It's easy to slip into a state of constant distraction. But here's the truth. It's not helping you. It's stealing your focus, your energy, and your productivity. By the time you finally try to focus on something that actually matters, your work, your goals, your personal projects, your brain is already burned out. You're fatigued from a day of switching between tasks, barely staying afloat. The ability to focus, to go deep into your work, is eroded by the constant interruption of outside noise. What should be a productive day is now a battle against your own mind. It becomes harder and harder to keep track of what's truly important when your brain is constantly being yanked in different directions. What's happening is that the digital world has created a system where you're always reacting to everything around you, but never truly taking the time to create something of value for yourself. The cycle is designed to keep you distracted, to keep you hooked on short bursts of information, rather than allowing you to step back and focus on the bigger picture. And that, right there, is the trap. You're stuck in a state of constant busyness, but never making real progress toward anything that matters. Technology has created an illusion of connection that we've all bought into. We're more connected than ever. Yet, paradoxically, we're more isolated. Social media gives us the feeling of being part of something larger, that we're interacting, sharing, and experiencing life alongside others. But the truth is, these interactions are shallow, fleeting, and ultimately unfulfilling. You scroll through your feed, seeing carefully curated lives, and somewhere deep down, you start comparing your own life to theirs. You begin to feel like you're falling short, like you're missing out, or that you're not doing enough. The truth is, you're looking at a distorted reality, one that's been filtered to look perfect, but beneath the surface, it's often far from it. This comparison game is where the damage starts. Social media distorts your sense of reality, pushing you into a competition that doesn't exist. You begin to measure your self-worth against the number of likes, comments, and followers you have, thinking these metrics define who you are. But the likes are hollow, the comments shallow. The followers are often faceless. The validation that you're so desperately seeking from others on these platforms becomes a never-ending chase for approval that leaves you empty. The more you get, the more you need. And it's like an addiction you can't break. What's worse is the effect it has on your mental health. The constant barrage of perfection, whether it's the perfect body, perfect relationships, perfect careers, feeds into feelings of inadequacy. You see other people living what seems to be the ideal life, and then you start questioning your own. Why don't I have it together like they do? Why can't I have that perfect relationship or career? These comparisons breed insecurity, not inspiration. They make you feel less than, disconnected from your own self-worth, and this only deepens the isolation. The more time you spend engaging in this false connection, the more disconnected you become from real relationships, the ones that actually matter. You're losing out on deep, meaningful interactions because you're chasing empty validation online. This need for likes and approval creates a cycle where your sense of self is tied to the temporary highs you get from external validation. But these external sources of validation can't fill the void inside you. They can't give you the real connection you're craving. The result? You end up feeling unfulfilled, constantly looking for the next dopamine hit. You're not actually connecting with people. You're connecting with an illusion, a hollow, superficial version of reality. Instead of building strong, genuine relationships, you're trading real connection for digital approval. And at the end of the day, that validation is a mirage. It's fleeting and ultimately leaves you feeling lonelier than before. The modern systems we live in have been designed to push us toward a constant state of mindless consumption. Everywhere you look, there are advertisements, influencers, and industries telling you what you need to buy, what you need to have, and what you need to wear to be happy. They sell you the illusion that happiness is tied to owning more things, a bigger house, a fancier car, the latest gadget. The message is clear. If you just get this next thing, if you just acquire more, you'll be fulfilled. But what this endless cycle of consumption really does is strip you of the most essential thing you need, purpose. When consumerism becomes the primary focus, it encourages you to chase after material possessions, status symbols, and fleeting pleasures instead of developing your character, your relationships, and your unique calling. You get caught up in the race to keep up with everyone else, always looking for the next thing to buy, the next thing to show off. But each time you acquire something, it leaves you feeling emptier. There's always another thing you need, and each time you get it, the satisfaction is short-lived. The rush fades, and you're left feeling just as unfulfilled as before. This obsession with acquiring material things robs you of opportunities to focus on what truly matters. Instead of investing time in your personal growth, you're scrolling through shopping sites or chasing the latest trend. Instead of building meaningful relationships, you're too busy comparing yourself to others on social media. And instead of pursuing your true purpose, you're caught in a loop of shallow distractions that leave you feeling disconnected from who you really are and what you're meant to do. You find yourself constantly chasing superficial goals, the perfect body, the perfect house, the perfect life. But when you get there, you realize that these things don't bring fulfillment. They don't bring meaning. They don't help you connect with others on a deep level or make a real difference in the world. And because you've spent so much time focusing on these hollow pursuits, you lose sight of your true purpose. The deeper meaning of life, the joy of serving others, of contributing to something bigger than yourself, of growing spiritually and emotionally, becomes blurred. In the end, you're left with a life that looks good on the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. You've acquired everything society tells you you need to be happy, yet you're still searching for that elusive sense of fulfillment. The constant chase for more, for the next thing, for the next purchase, leaves you disconnected from what truly matters: your relationships, your growth, and the impact you can have on the world around you. Without purpose, you become a slave to consumption, forever chasing something that can never truly satisfy. In today's world, the pressure to perform, succeed, and meet the unrealistic standards set by society has reached an all-time high. Everywhere you look, there's a relentless message. You need to be more successful, more productive, more perfect. Social media bombards you with highlights of others' lives, seemingly flawless, successful, and always happy. Meanwhile, the world of work demands more and more of your time and energy, leaving little room for rest or reflection. This constant grind creates a toxic cycle that fuels anxiety, depression, and emotional exhaustion. The pressure doesn't just come from external sources. It's internalized too. You put immense pressure on yourself to meet these impossible standards, driven by the fear of falling behind, being judged, or failing. Every task, every project, every deadline becomes a source of stress. It feels like there's no room for failure, no time to breathe. This creates a sense of constant tension, where you're always striving to achieve, but never feeling satisfied with what you've done. And as the stress piles up, so does your emotional weight. Over time, it becomes harder and harder to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The most insidious effect of this pressure is the disconnection it causes between your mind and your true self. In a world that tells you who you should be, how you should look, what you should have, it's easy to lose sight of who you truly are. You start to define your worth by external accomplishments and comparisons, rather than by your internal values, your character, and your unique purpose. This gap between the person you're expected to be and the person you actually are creates a profound sense of emptiness. You may achieve everything you thought you wanted, but still feel lost, disconnected, and unfulfilled. This disconnection robs you of peace and meaning. Instead of feeling calm and centered, you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, trying to keep up with an ever-accelerating world. Instead of finding fulfillment in the present moment, you're always chasing the next achievement, the next goal, the next milestone, but it never seems to be enough. Even when you succeed, it feels hollow and the satisfaction is fleeting. Your sense of self-worth becomes fragile, tied to achievements rather than to who you are as a person. The mental health crisis we see today is a direct result of this toxic cycle. The pressures to perform, the constant comparison, the disconnection from our true selves. All of these contribute to an overwhelming sense of anxiety, depression, and burnout. You might feel like you're running a race you can't win, drowning in the noise and expectations of the world around you, unable to find clarity or peace. But the good news is that healing begins when you reconnect with who you truly are and reject the false standards that the world imposes on. As technology continues to dominate every aspect of our lives, we've experienced a shift from authentic, face-to-face interactions to digital communication and virtual entertainment. At first, it might seem like the endless scrolling and texting are connecting us with the world, but in reality, these digital interactions are leaving us more isolated than ever. Social media platforms, messaging apps, and online games create the illusion of connection, but they don't foster real intimacy. The more time you spend on these platforms, the more detached you become from the people who matter most, your friends, family, and community. You're left with a hollow sense of connection, one that's fleeting and superficial. This digital immersion is not just making you socially isolated, it's also having a profound impact on your mental and emotional health. The longer you spend glued to a screen, the less you engage in the physical world around you. You skip the in-person conversation, avoid eye contact, and start retreating into your own bubble. As a result, you lose the very thing that makes relationships meaningful: presence. No amount of likes, comments, or virtual interactions can replace the depth of a real conversation, a hug, or the shared experience of spending time together. This isolation doesn't just affect your social life, it seeps into your emotional well-being. Without the support of a genuine, in-person network of friends and family, you become increasingly disconnected from your own emotion. The loneliness becomes a heavy weight, but it's subtle. It creeps up on you as you get more caught up in the digital world, thinking that the quick fixes it provides will fulfill you. But in truth, they're leaving you emptier. Long periods of digital engagement leave you devoid of emotional nourishment, unable to process your feelings in a healthy way. As you keep isolating yourself, you begin to spiral downward, becoming more mentally and emotionally stagnant. And there's more. The absence of physical activity compounds the problem. Being sedentary not only harms your body, but also feeds into the emotional stagnation. You're not just missing out on social connection, you're neglecting the basic need for movement and exercise, which are proven to help regulate mood, reduce stress, and improve overall mental health. Without the outlet of physical activity, your body and mind become trapped in a cycle of stagnation, where you're left feeling stuck and frustrated. The result of this isolation is clear. You lose touch with what truly matters: your relationships, your health, and your mental clarity. You're not just distant from others, you're distant from yourself. And the more time you spend in this cycle, the harder it becomes to break free. It's not enough to just turn off your phone or check out from social media for a few hours. Real change requires you to engage in physical activity, build deeper relationships, and reconnect with the real world outside of screens. The modern world has distorted what it means to be a man. With shifting narratives and conflicting messages, many men today are left struggling to understand their role and purpose. Society has become obsessed with redefining masculinity, often to the point where the very essence of being a man is questioned, manipulated, and devalued. The pressure to conform to societal standards, to be sensitive, emotionally expressive, or passively agreeable, has led to a generation of men who are unsure of their own identity. They're told that strength is toxic, leadership is patriarchal, and self-mastery is selfish. In turn, they are left adrift, unsure of how to navigate a world that constantly tells them who they should be, instead of letting them discover who they are meant to be. This confusion manifests in men who are soft, insecure, and disconnected from their natural instincts. Instead of embracing the strength that masculinity offers, both physically and mentally, many are left feeling powerless. Their lives are filled with doubt, fear, and a lack of direction. The narrative that encourages men to be passive and disconnected from their power has created a generation that, in many ways, is paralyzed by its own uncertainty. There's no clear path forward. Instead of being leaders, warriors, protectors, and providers, many men find themselves stuck in a cycle of indecision, frustration, and a deep sense of inadequacy. The absence of real role models and mentorship compounds this problem. The traditional models of masculinity, rooted in strength, leadership, discipline, and self-reliance, are under constant attack. Men are being taught that to be strong is to be violent, to be a leader is to be oppressive, and to take charge of their lives is to be controlling. But these twisted ideas don't align with the true purpose of masculinity. A real man doesn't suppress his emotions, but he controls them. He doesn't dominate others, but he leads by example. He doesn't shy away from strength, but uses it to protect and build. Without a clear understanding of these principles, men are left searching for their identity in a world that continually offers them falsehoods. Without understanding their true identity, many men become lost. They flounder in a world that constantly tells them they don't belong, that they shouldn't aspire to be strong, independent, and resilient. They become disconnected from their natural power and purpose, losing sight of the man they were always meant to be. The world attempts to suppress their masculinity, to make them weaker, softer, and more compliant. But the truth is, True masculinity lies not in conforming to a system that seeks to dilute it, but in reclaiming it through strength, discipline, and leadership. When a man steps into his true role as a protector, a provider, a leader, he begins to rediscover his purpose. And only when he does this can he break free from the confusion that the world imposes on him. The war on masculinity isn't just a battle for how society views men. It's a war for the very soul of manhood itself. When men begin to understand their true identity, not as society defines them, but as they were created to be, they start to reclaim their power. And with that power, they can rise to greatness, leading their families, communities, and the world around them. The solution to this crisis of identity, confusion, and emasculation isn't found in conforming to the world's standards or chasing fleeting desires. It's found in turning back to God, the Creator who designed you for greatness, purpose, and strength. God made you in His image, and He gave you the power to rise above the noise and distractions of this world. When you align yourself with Him, you reclaim your true masculinity, not the distorted version the world sells, but the strength, discipline, and leadership that come from a higher calling. God doesn't make mistakes, and He doesn't make weak men. He made you to be strong, resilient, and unwavering in your purpose. This isn't about self-help gimmicks or quick fixes that will make you feel good for a moment, but leave you empty in the long run. It's about creating a lifestyle of consistent, meaningful growth that's rooted in faith. The world may push you towards superficial goals, instant gratification, and distractions. But when you turn to God, you begin to see beyond the surface. You see the bigger picture. You realize you were designed for something far greater than just being a consumer of temporary pleasure. God made you with a unique purpose, and it's time you started walking in it. This is where natural self-improvement comes into play. It's not about being obsessed with your looks, your bank account, or your status. It's about growing in every aspect of who you are, mind, body, and spirit. It's about disciplining yourself, taking control of your life, and building the type of character that's unwavering in the face of adversity. True masculinity isn't about how much you can bench press or how many followers you have. It's about strength, resilience, self-control, and the ability to lead others with humility and purpose. And none of that can be fully achieved without faith. When you turn to God, you find purpose in every part of your journey. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow, to get better, to honor Him with the decisions you make, and to serve others with the gifts He's given you. You stop living for approval from the world and start living for the approval of God. That's the foundation of true self-improvement. Your habits shift, your mindset changes, and your life transforms. This channel is designed to guide you through that very transformation. It's about taking the ancient wisdom found in God's Word and applying it to your life today. It's about taking the principles of self-discipline, strength, and leadership and using them to build something real, something lasting. This is not just about talking about change. It's about making real, sustainable change. Here, we'll help you tap into the potential that's already within you, the power that God has instilled in you, and the purpose that He has set before you. It's about developing the skills, mindset, and character to be the man you were always meant to be. You'll be challenged to grow spiritually, mentally, and physically, learning to dominate your habits and overcome the distractions that are designed to derail your life. But none of this can happen if you're trying to do it alone. It's not easy. The journey is long, and there will be moments where you feel weak, where you'll want to give up. But the good news is that you don't have to do it on your own. If you're serious about stepping up and embracing the life you were meant to live, I want you to join the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood isn't just about a group of men coming together for support. It's about creating an environment where we hold each other accountable, where we push each other to greatness, and where we build something powerful that's centered on faith, self-improvement, and leadership. It's where men come together to become the best versions of themselves. Not just for themselves, but for the people they love and the world around them. This isn't just a community, it's a movement of men who are tired of being weak, tired of living for validation from the world, and tired of living in confusion. We're committed to developing ourselves into men who lead with integrity, who love with purpose, and who serve with passion. Men who know their worth because they know who they are in Christ. Men who understand their true calling and are willing to do whatever it takes to fulfill it. If you're ready to take that first step, then I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And don't just stop there. Click the first link in the description and join the Brotherhood. We'll walk with you every step of the way, guiding you, supporting you, and challenging you to become the man you were always meant to be. Together, we'll build strength, develop discipline, and cultivate a life of purpose that honors God. You don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to keep struggling with the same distraction. The time for change is now.